Alright, so in this video, we're going to be speaking about the dangers of waiting until you find your husband, like basically putting it off until later. Now, I did a video talking about, the timeline of the HOE phase, so that might be interesting. This is kind of like a part 2 in a way, but we'll say that we know that in our culture, the women are told to wait and put it off till when they're in their 30s and 40s to find a good situation of security and safety in a relationship and a long-term relationship or marriage. So we're going to speak about the dangers of that narrative that are being pushed onto women, because it's one thing, like, you can do whatever you want, basically. You can choose one way, and this is what I said before, you can choose the other way, but it's good if you're informed about the decisions that you're making. So again, we'll speak about the dangers of that narrative. Now, we'll say this: hypergamy is what defines the whole phase. So we spoke about the timeline of the whole phase, and we speak about the fact that hypergamy defines it, and a woman's need for looking for attraction and then security also defines it. So when she's younger and she's more youthful, she's literally thinking about, hey, I want the best type of stimulation, and as they say, I'm looking for the strong masculine guys that could be the alpha guys and so on, the bad boys and whatnot. And when she's younger, she'll be dealing with those type of guys. But as we know, those guys aren't the top option when you're looking for security. But we'll just start by saying that hypergamy is what defines the whole phase. This is very important because women are always dating up, and they're always trying to seek better than themselves, like a better option. She wants to be inspired in her desire for her man. She wants to look up to him. That's why women want a taller guy and all of these things. So what happens, again, this is almost like the timeline 2, another version of it. When you're waiting and you're putting off finding a husband and a long-term relationship, this is what's happening. You're increasing in your own value in terms of masculine value. So how we would measure men, a woman's actually increasing in her value in that area, because she's actually becoming a better provider for herself, and she's actually learning more about the world, and she's kind of getting hardened by the world too. So she actually becomes a better protector for herself. So as she rises, the issue with this is because her attraction and her desire is influenced by hypergamy, she begins to like less men than before. Because think about it, when it comes to your money or career situation, you are always gonna desire more a man who has more money than yourself. But as she gains more money and goes deeper into her career, she's rising. But that actually means she doesn't want to go down. Think about it. There's so many men she's rising above. So as she's getting older, she's going up, and she can only get the guys that are above. But of course, many men that are below in that regard are still, being overlooked by her, because again, hypergamy defines her attraction. So she begins to like less men than she did before. So she's getting older and less men are of an interest to her. But what's interesting is that while her own standards are rising, and while there are many less men that she likes, the potential for many men to like her is actually decreasing. So it's this weird thing. She's going up in her standards, but what men are looking for, in terms of that, her standard and her value that she offers in return is decreasing. Because when we look at the genetic value of a woman, it's decreasing over time. And that's very important, because that's how the feminine value is measured in terms of what men are looking for, because they're looking for a woman who is, let's say, in age, right? Men tend to like a woman who is younger than themselves, but there are reasons for that. But even just in that, think about it, she's getting older, standards go higher. She's getting older, less men actually like her. And that's because, well, age is very important for considering other things. So let's say beauty. If I was to say to you, Are men attracted to beauty and physical beauty? You would obviously say yes. And if on another occasion, I would say, does physical beauty get better as you go into your 30s, 40s, and 50s, or does it decrease? You would obviously say it decreases. So naturally, if men like beauty, it makes sense that they wouldn't put, like, if they had the choice, they're gonna get a woman who is younger rather than older. Then the other thing of why men actually like beauty is actually because of fertility reasons and reproductive purposes. So a man who, let's say he wants kids, naturally it makes sense from a logical point of view for him to not get with a woman who is in her 30s or 40s, because there's just less fertile years that she has when you compare it to women who are younger. So you can say, oh yeah, you can still have a baby at 40, and that's true, but you cannot deny that there are more health risks and there are just more difficulties in having a baby as you get older anyway. This is logical. So it makes sense that biologically he is actually looking for a woman who is still youthful. So it's interesting. Her value increases in the masculine realm, which makes her look at less men as a masculine provider or leader for her. But in terms of her feminine value, at least genetically, it's decreasing. So less men actually like her. And then on the other side, so let's just stop and say this. The pool of men is basically decreasing in terms of who's interested in her and who she's interested in. But watch this. Even of the pool who are interested, the pool of men that she likes, for example, it's actually still gonna decrease because not a lot of those men will be available. So the type of men that she likes, the pool gets smaller, because if she likes that guy, it makes sense why other women would like that guy. That's why women are so competitive over men, because the availability of great and quality men for them is low, So if another girl, if he is a good man, of course he's going to be swept up by a woman earlier. And remember, a lot of women might say, well, I don't have to wait until I'm in my 30s and 40s and 50s to find that love. I'll get it right now when I'm most young and or most beautiful, I should say, right? So let's say he's a great guy, he can provide, he can lead, he's logical, he's basically the dream guy. And you see him, he's a rising star, basically. Obviously, another woman's gonna go, look, I'm already preparing for my husband. I'm going for it. I value having a long-term relationship now, so I'm going for it. But the woman who doesn't take that serious, she won't even see that guy because she's just in her having fun phase or building a career phase, and she's not even going to see that. So by the time she's now later in life and now she is receptive to that, she didn't even get to see that guy, and she's only seeing the available men now. Now, this is why those women will be like, oh man, these guys in their 30s and 40s, they still don't want to commit. So from her perception, men don't want to commit, but it's only because the men who did want to commit, they committed earlier. So they wasn't waiting, and neither were the women that were for them. The men that were ready and had that mindset, they didn't wait. They was just like, yo, let me get married at 26 or whatever it is. A lot of guys are like that. So for her, the men that didn't really want commitment, of course, more of them are going to be in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on, And of course, there's always exceptions. I am generalizing because then we can make a general rule and explain general issues. So all in all, this is not necessarily to say that you should feel bad and panic and worry. I'm only just giving you the maths. I'm only just giving you the statistical type of analysis that can be done. I'm only giving you just the pure logic of this situation. You can wait and you can build your career first and all of that if you want. I support you. However, just know that it's coming at a certain cost, and logically, mathematically, there's going to be less men. Like the pool of available men for you to choose from is just decreasing as time goes on, and you're going to need a slice of luck and skill really to then get the guy that you want, but you won't have built up that skill because you don't have any practice dealing with the type of guy you really want when you think about it. So this is part of the reason why, this is the last thing I'll say, this is part of the reason why you do see me making videos advocating for polygamous marriages, plural marriages, in which, you know, a man is married to multiple women, because then that actually gives the women the choice, you know, from like the pool of men is no longer tiny and it opens up for them. But we'll talk about that another day. But for now, I want you to comment down below, let Reemus know, and I'll see you in the next video.